From NBC News, this is Today with Kathie Lee Gifford and Hoda Kathie, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
We're back on this very fat Tuesday with more of Today and an emotional stimulus plan.
The times are tough and a lot of Americans are feeling a lot of stress. So here to help you stay positive and focused while getting your needs met from your spouse, your kids, and even your boss
and co-host
are James Arthur Ray, author of Harmonic Wealth, The Secret of Attracting the Life You Want, and MargieWarrell, a life coach and author of Find Your Courage, 12 Acts for Becoming Fearless at Work and in Life.
Wow, two books that everybody needs these days.
You guys are here to cheer us up.
I think so.
Well, we've had some string of bad news. The stock market went south again, the unemployment rate is higher, and a lot of people are feeling very stressed out, wound up, and tight. What's just some general advice given the circumstances?
Well, I think first of all, there was a lot of optimism and hope when Obama took office, and he's done a lot of what he said, or he's put it into plan. You know, he's signed the stimulus package, he's working on the housing plan and extending unemployment. It's now time for us to take responsibility and start to take some action ourselves. Yeah.
It's just that a lot of people have no confidence in those things working. Even they're glad somebody's trying to do something, but we're not sure if it's going to work.
Well, what went into recession was not necessarily just our economy, but it's trust and confidence. Yeah. You know, Peter Lynch, one of the greatest advisors of all time, said, I don't pay more than 15 minutes a year attention to the stock market.
Wow.
So I'm not suggesting we ignore those things, but we've got to realign our focus.
But a lot of it, Margie, it's what's in our heads, isn't it? It's about how we perceive things.
Absolutely. I think it's vital to focus on what we can do rather than on what we can't. And at times like this, we're being bombarded daily with messages of why we should play safe, hunker down, you know, avoid risk. And we have a choice. Do we live under a cloud of dark anxiety, or do we trust in ourselves more deeply to handle whatever challenges come along?
But how do you do that? Yeah. How do you do that? It's, you know, it's easy to say and hard to do, isn't it? Trust in yourself.
It is, because you're bombarded every single day with something to the contrary. But you see, we've got to become more resourceful. There's plenty of resources. It's not about resources. It's about becoming resourceful. Energy flows where attention goes. And as we continually put our attention upon how things won't work, how we're victimized, how things are never going to turn around, then we create more of that.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Well, what if you, because a lot of people are watching this, have lost their jobs, and they are feeling despair. Yeah, they're scared. And what advice do you have for those folks?
Well, the key to success is thought, feeling, action. You've got to think, feel, act. Let me tell you an example of a client of mine named Patrick. He was being foreclosed upon. He was telling me they were going to move out in the dead of night. They were way behind. And I said, Patrick, you know, call them and set up some kind of a he goes, no, he was thinking victim, feeling victim, acting victim. I said, no, call them. I twisted his arm. He finally did. He came back with this huge smile. He had contacted his mortgage company. They don't want your home.
That's right.
They've got plenty of those. You know, what they want is their money. And
they want a plan.
That's right. And he had a plan. He came back. He goes, we're keeping our house.
That's great.
Yeah. You can't always choose your circumstances. And obviously at the moment people aren't choosing where they find themselves, but they get to choose how they respond to it. And I think being proactive, taking responsibility is really crucial.
Well, you say, and I think this is interesting, you say ask for what you want. If you want something from your boss, ask. From your spouse, ask. But it seems to me like now, I don't know, but would be the time to sort of keep your head down.
Be stoic.
Yeah, just sort of work hard and get through it.
And I know that's what people are doing. They're playing safe, thinking I'll just, you know, keep my mouth closed. But when a lot is being asked of us, we need to be asking a lot of others. So I think it's really important when there's a lot being put on our plate, we're being asked to do more with less, to make requests of people around us, whether it's your boss or your husband or a colleague, from the boardroom to the bedroom. Let people know what is it that you want.
But if you want a raise, you're not going to get a raise at a time like this.
You may not get a raise right now, but it's still important for people to know what you want and not necessarily to settle. You're never going to get what you want unless you're willing to ask for it. Now, you may not get a raise right now, but it's still important. A request is different from a demand. It's just saying, hey, I could do with some extra help here. So letting people know
what you want. But you may get a raise. I mean, quite frankly, I just gave raises to 2 of my employees in my company, and you'll never get a raise by necessarily asking for it. Neither one of them asked for it.
You have to earn it.
You get a raise by outgrowing your current position. So instead of focusing on getting a raise, focus on how can I provide more value? How can I give more service? How can I help others get what they want? As you get outside of yourself, you start to feel better. That's the key to the universe. You feel better, you act differently, and it comes to you.
What if your spouse lost his or her job and you're still employed, and there's obviously a lot of struggles, and they need you a lot. What's some good advice for how to treat your spouse in that situation?
You know, times like this can put a lot of pressure on marriages.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important at times like this to be really open, forthright, have those lines of communication really open. And so it is easy for people to kind of fall into the doldrums and let a mood of despair and desperation overcome them.
Yeah.
So I think focus on hope and optimism. People are far more attracted to people who are hopeful and optimistic than those who are despairing and desperate.
You don't want to be around negative people at this point. You know, just negative. You can't get away fast enough.
There's an energy, and you feel that. And you know what? We're not conditioned as a species to look for opportunity in times of adversity. And yet, as we begin to recondition, this is a great opportunity for all of us. It really is, to find our inspiration. I have met numerous people who have taken jobs, and they've said, you know what? I got laid off, and I stepped back, and I really thought about, what am I good at? What am I unique at?
What do I really want to do?
And they found new positions. They maybe have even been willing to take a pay cut because they said, hey, I was in a position, I was making this money, but I wasn't happy.
Yeah, a friend of mine was actually laid off, and she went for a job interview just the other day in a place she didn't know that she'd enjoy, and suddenly all of her creative juices started flowing. She feels like she's back in business. I mean, if she gets it.
You need to go where somebody values you. Values you uniquely and what you're uniquely able to bring to the table.
You're right, and so take this as an opportunity. Look for ways to learn, ways to grow, ways to do what you love. And I guarantee you this, that even if you take a pay cut short term, when you're doing something you love and you're really passionate about, it will come back to you in the long run.
See, my daddy always said, find something you love to do and then figure out a way to get paid for it.
And if you're getting rejected, I mean, a lot of people are getting rejected, you know, going for jobs and they're not getting the job. And often we can take it personally, too personally, and make it mean something it doesn't, that I'm not employable, I don't have value to add, no one loves me. And really, that's not the case at all. Don't make a no mean something it doesn't. Don't take rejection too hard.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Margie, thank you.
And hang out with people that make you feel good about you.
People.
Yeah, that's so key. Surround yourself with people who are going to move you forward.
Like James Arthur Ray and MargieWarrell.
Thank you guys. You guys are terrific. Thank you so much for being with us. All right, for more info, you can go to our website at todayshow.com or KLGandHoda.com.